Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video ever. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the online platform that I've been teaching for the past 6 months, which is called PalFish. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Courtney, I'm from Texas, and in 2012 I moved to Turkey because I decided that I wanted to live abroad. Of course, living abroad, the most popular job is being an English teacher. So this is when my career began. In Turkey, I taught in language schools and in kindergartens, and eventually I decided with my husband to move to China. We moved to China in October 2016. And when we moved to China, an interesting idea came into my mind because here in China, advertising is everything and advertising is everywhere. And I began to see lots of advertisements for online English schools. And I thought, that might be a good idea. Currently on PalFish, which is the online platform that I teach for right now, my nickname is Travel Teach. Travel Teach is important to describe me because I feel like I'm a traveler and I'm a teacher. And you can imagine that with an online platform, it can be a very easy way for you to transition from being a real life teacher in the classroom to pursuing what you really want to do, which for me is traveling anywhere in the world that I want because of this online platform. So today I want to tell you about my adventure and my journey with PalFish. And of course, that adventure doesn't start immediately with PalFish. Actually, when I first started researching online schools, I found a list online of over 25 different schools, different platforms, whether they are traditional schools with lessons, teaching adults, teaching children, or just having free talk. But originally, I applied with a different company. I'm not going to name this company because my experience with this company was not totally positive. So I applied with this company, which is a larger school than PalFish, actually. And on this company, the first negative experience that I had was with the initial interview. The intake was done over Skype. When you apply for a school abroad, it's very normal to send your passport and to send that information. So I sent my passport information on Skype, and the interviewer let me log into their platform and told me that I needed to complete kind of like an e-course before I was able to have my interview. And they required a certain amount of hours watched of their videos, kind of giving me an introduction to online teaching and about their platform specifically, which that was actually great. But after I did that, I had my interview. It was scheduled for that night because I kind of wanted to get things going. That's kind of my personality. And that night, I had an interview scheduled for 5 p.m. Well, if you know anything about teaching online, you know that sometimes you have cancellations. And unfortunately, that demo lesson I was supposed to teach to a real student was a cancellation. So then the company said, well, can you do 9 o'clock? I live in China, so I can understand the time difference, and I can understand the time difference of a child who's available at 5 and a child who's available at 9. At 9 is probably an older child and a child who's had a very long day. I believe that my demo lesson went pretty well. I didn't feel that nervous. I didn't make very many mistakes. But when I heard the feedback from the company, from that demo lesson, they decided my salary, my hourly pay. And I wasn't very satisfied with that. I had heard some people from that specific company had gotten much more. And I wanted some feedback. So, with the cancellation and no feedback at all given to me, I decided that that company wasn't the best. The third thing I didn't like about that company is that they wanted me to sign a contract, and that's not really how I roll. I'm a little bit more flexible than that. And I wanted to have flexibility because here in China, and probably in your everyday life, whether you're living in America, England, or Canada, maybe Australia, in your everyday life, maybe you need some flexibility. It's a normal thing, especially if you're working online. So I decided that that company wasn't for me, and I researched a little bit more. I applied to multiple online platforms after that. It kind of just rolled into, okay, I'll apply for this one, I'll apply for this one, I'll apply for this one. But on PalFish, I applied on March 3rd, 2018. This is when my journey began. And I was accepted after, I think that March 3rd was on a weekend. Don't quote me, I could be wrong. But I was accepted on March 5th. And I had my first student, I believe, on March 6th. So on PalFish, which is, of course, where I'm currently teaching, on PalFish there are two types of lessons. There's free talk, which is very unstructured. You can use pictures and JPEGs, but you can't really build a lesson very easily. This is more for conversation, especially with older students or adults who just want to practice conversation. So from March 6th onward, I was trying to build my hours on free talk. And the best way that I started doing this was by offering a very cheap rate. At the beginning, I was, the students that I had were paying 0.8 RMB per minute. And PalFish takes 20% of that, which might seem like a lot when it's so little, but overall, I think this is a pretty fair exchange. So if you just join PalFish and you are trying to build your free talk, lower your rate. That's my advice to you. Or if you want to join, this is the first thing that you should do once you are accepted. So after I lowered my rate, I decided that I was going to wait before I apply for PalFish Official Kids course. The blue banner was there on the middle of the screen, I remember, and I did send my information, but I decided that I would build up my reputation, build up my hours, and build up my ratings before applying for the Official Kids course. So before I had my interview, I had built about 10 hours on PalFish, and I interviewed for the Official Kids course on March 21st. During my interview, which I would like to talk about in a different video, remember this is my first video, so I'll have a couple of others as well. When I interviewed, the interviewer asked me about my experience teaching and my experience with children and my experience with teaching online. And then she got the interview started. As I remember, she was acting like a 5-year-old child, and this was kind of my first experience with an interviewer who was not actually a child, since the first experience was doing the demo lesson with the actual child. So that was pretty interesting for me, and in my interview, she wouldn't tell me her name. Even when I had my puppets, and I said, "Hello, what's your name?" "My name is Rabbit." "What's your name?" "My name is Courtney." "What's your name?" She refused to give me her name. This was a little bit scary because I was a little bit nervous. But after we went through a couple of slides, she stopped me and she told me that I did really well. I can talk a little bit about the pros that she told me, but I want to focus on the cons. So she told me that I smiled the whole time, I had simple language, I didn't use incidental language, and that I kept the energy in the lesson up and I kept it active. So this was important, but she told me about the name that I cannot get stuck on a slide. On PalFish, for most of the lessons, especially the trial lessons, you only have 25 minutes to complete 25 slides. This is the way PalFish works. After that, it goes to the next lesson, or after that, the trial is finished. So this was my major con, like I need to keep it going. So Again, I will talk more about the experience that I had interviewing and doing the demo lesson in a different video, but I really liked PalFish in that they gave me some feedback from the very beginning. This kind of helped me get a good idea of how I can start the lessons, what their expectations are from me, etc. So I interviewed again, the date was March 21st, 2018, and I passed the interview on that day. I believe it was about 2 days before I had my first official PalFish Kids course class, but I got along pretty quickly. I'm not here to promise you that your schedule is going to be full immediately. For some people it is, for some people it isn't. Even though I had built 10 hours, it did still take me a little bit of time. So my advice, if you're watching this video, is that if you're at the turning point to quit your regular job or to totally go full time online, give it a month. You need to give it a month. You have to be patient. You have to learn the game. You have to learn the students. You have to learn the market. Give it at least 1 month. But I will say that within 5 days, I sold my first package. I sold my first package on March 26th, 2018. And from that point, I had a lot of luck, I would say. I mean, I worked very hard. I'm not going to say this is a lucky game or this is about your teaching style or your attractiveness or anything. I think you have to work hard and you have to pursue those kids. And in a different video, I will talk about how you can sell more packages. Actually, I did a live video about this on PalFish. If you join the official kids course, you can have access to that video. But I will create another video for YouTube for this specifically. So from March to May, I grew exponentially on PalFish. I had lots of regular students. So my experience in May is what's really important about my overall opinion and overall feeling about PalFish. On PalFish, they stress from the beginning that you need to have or you need to aim for a 25% conversion rate. This is an ideal number. This is not a number that a lot of teachers get. And I'm very proud to say that in May, I had over a 30% conversion rate. So 25% conversion rate would mean that for every 4 trial lessons I did, I sold one. But I was above that rate, and I was one of the top sellers in May for packages. So that made me feel very confident and very cool inside the company. My experience in PalFish so far after May has been very positive. Here in China, I had a 2-month vacation, and so I did take quite a bit of time off of PalFish. But not only have I PalFished in China, but I've PalFished in America, in the United Kingdom, and in Turkey. So that's been a very cool point of pride for me to say I taught my students in 4 different countries. It's great. My journey on PalFish right now is that I just benchmarked my 500th hour earlier this month in September 2018. And I'm continuing to get regular students and trial students, selling trials, etc. So this is just about my journey on PalFish. And in the future, I'm planning to make a video to talk about the specific differences of why PalFish is different than other companies online and what it has to offer more for me. My experience on PalFish has been wholly positive. I've met some amazing teachers, I've met some amazing coworkers, and I get the sense that PalFish is really growing. In fact, I know it's growing. It's not a question. When I started in March 2018, there were between 200 and 300 official kids course teachers. But now in September 2018, there are over 700 active teachers on the platform. That's not including those people who are taking a break or maybe who have decided to shut down their schedule for this amount of time. And every day there are trial lessons. Every day there is a lot of opportunity. PalFish offers some great bonuses as well. I'm going to be very frank about this and say that if you would like to join PalFish, I would love to be your mentor teacher. And you can click the referral link in the info part of this video. I would be very happy to answer any questions that you have, and I have set up a PalFish email address specifically to address your questions and to help you get started. So please join me as soon as you can on PalFish and experience your own journey. Okay guys, next time remember I'm going to talk about why PalFish is different than the other platforms. Thanks for listening, and please give me a like or subscribe to my channel. See you soon.